Thank you for listening to AirWreckRadio. It is the year 2063, and thanks to Pal and Care, the boys are still young and virile. In the 50 years since they started AirWreckRadio, they have been hugely successful, using the show as a cornerstone of a media empire worth tens of dollars. They have amassed an army of nearly 200 Facebook followers, but trouble brews.
Thank you for listening to AirWreckRadio. It is the 24th day of June in the year 2063. With me in the AirWreck holodeck is my dear friend Stacy.
You know, I don't know why you do that.
What?
I don't know why you do that goddamn time check. It's a recorded show. Nobody listens to it on the day that we're listening to it, and I've had a goddamn enough of it. I've done it. It's my show. AirWreckRadio is my show. All right, guys, I got a great show for you, but we're going to go to break as soon as I... Oh, my God. I don't know how to run the board. What did I do? I killed Corey, and I don't know how to run the board. I got to fix this. I got to go back in time and fix this. That's it. I got to go back in time to 2013 and fix this right now.
What are you, IMing him?
Yeah.
What a homo.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, and thank you for choosing AirWreckRadio. We'd like to apologize in advance if there's any inconvenience caused, but we're going down.
It's late in the afternoon, the sun rising high. There's nothing to do around here, and if there was, well, I wouldn't try. Taking my comforts, taking good care of me. Sitting down in my easy chair, taking a sip of my sassafras tea.
Thank you for listening to AirWreckRadio. It is the beautiful 24th day of June in the year 2013. With me in studio, as always, is my buddy Stacy. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good. I see that you've gone back to your radio voice. I noticed that that's come back again.
I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize. We're experimenting around.
Oh, well, I've been playing a lot with production pieces and stuff lately, so I've been using the radio voice a lot.
You should watch that golden voiced hobo.
I saw it. Well, we have a show planned for you tonight.
What kind of show?
I don't know if it's an exciting show. I don't know if it's a good show, but it's definitely a show.
It's definitely going to take at least 2 hours.
Tonight we're talking tech, with the exception of having Trevor Years from Years Motorsports in to talk about his race team and racing for autism.
That's not very techy. It doesn't really fit the theme. But it's very important. Awareness for autism is something that is lacking, and it's good to have.
If you were a radio broadcast professional, you would be able to pull any theme together, and I can tell you exactly how autism and racing pulls into high tech. Would you like to hear them?
I guess.
One, the field of auto racing is always at the cutting edge of technology, at the top of the line. Maybe not so much in the dirt track sprint
even
cars.
dirt track is more top of the line than it used to be.
But high-end motorsports is at the top of the line technology. I
want to disagree with you a little bit.
With what?
High-end motorsports in NASCAR, I think we're talking about here.
And Indy.
Okay. They used to be at the high end back when we were worried about horsepower and performance, but these days it's all about mileage and
well, we're talking two different animals.
It is, but they're not really at the top of what's relevant technology anymore, though they did used to be in the very recent past.
We're talking about being a professional broadcaster and being able to make a tie-in out of nothing.
Oh, I thought we were talking tech. I was going to do that.
Could you cut me a little slack on the high-end technology auto racing tie-in? Could you cut me a little slack there?
I don't know. Let's see.
Anyway, so tonight, because we're doing a little different format tonight, we are going to start off the top of the show instead of doing our normal personal, delightful banter. we're going to start off with our good old and our favorite bit, Headline News.
Headline News.
I love headline news.
Everybody loves headline
What's in the headlines
news
this week?
Well, I want to start off the top of headline news with my story. I know normally we go back and forth, but I'm very passionate about this one. The reason why I want to talk about this one is because it further proves what we talked about last week when it comes to private organizations being able to do what they want, whether it's moral or not. I have a little news story here that I like to play. It's a little audio from a local news affiliate, Channel 2 Action News.
Is that a local news affiliate?
It is a local news affiliate. I'm going to throw it on the monitor so you can hear it. We'll play it right here for us.
Channel 2 is QVC.
Not local, our local.
Oh, I see.
It's
Somebody
all
else's local.
It's all local.
Facebook is lighting up after a 12-year-old football player in Henry County was kicked off the school football team because she's a girl. She attends Strong Rock Christian School in Locust Grove, and Channel 2's Jeff Dorr tells us what the player and her mom think about this.
At Strong Rock Christian School, before you get to the high school level, they have a football league for the younger kids, and that's where 12-year-old Maddie Blythe began fulfilling her dream.
My mom counts it that I had 5 sacks. I count it as 4.
After her first sack,
The entire crowd thought it was one of their boys, and when they saw my number and looked at the roster, they saw it was me. Standing ovation right there.
but this week the school said she was off the team.
Just for the fact that because I'm a girl, which I think is completely outrageous.
They tell me the CEO of the school said boys have lustful thoughts and bad language and cited the Bible.
That men and women are created equal but different, and he said that he prayed about it and said it was the wrong thing to do. I think it's kind of crazy, and I think it's very archaic, and he needs to get with the times.
The school told me that all the administrators are away and unavailable for comment. Meanwhile, the Blythes hope that they will change their mind, and they have started a Facebook page that they call Let Her Play. It's devoted to all girl athletes. You can get a link at our website, WSBTV.com. In Henry County, Jeff Dorr, Channel 2 Action News.
So,
Now
because she's a girl, she cannot play for her private school's football team. If this was a public school, I'd be standing at the front of the line screaming how this is not fair. This isn't fair. If she can play with the boys, let her play with the boys. Oh, except for the fact that she's going to a private school that you have to pay to be there. And if you don't like the rules, you don't pay to be there. And I sympathize with her position because she seems to be a natural athlete, and I would like to see somebody pave the way for other female athletes in men's sports. But
football is like the last sport I want girls.
I agree.
I would rather see them playing hockey or basketball or baseball together. Why can't they play baseball together?
I'm talking about baseball, maybe. Have you played with any of those fast pitch girls before?
They can hold their own.
Wow. Those are athletes right there, buddy.
Right.
But this is another example, as we touched on last week, about how a private organization's beliefs or doctrine isn't controllable by law. It is not subject to the law of the land. Because you pay to be there means that it is a private situation, and when the rules are the rules. You don't like it, beat it.
See, I think the thing going on here, though, is that we're not necessarily talking about laws. Although, last week, I listened to our show 4 or 5 times, and I've come to agree with Corey.
4 or 5 times?
I did. I listened to it a bunch, man. I listened to it once myself, and then it was so good I listened to it another time by myself, and then we listened to it at work.
Are you a sadist?
No, it was a good show, I thought. I thought it was a good show.
I agree.
And then I listened to it with my wife, like I always do. And then there was friends over this week, and they wanted to hear it too, so we put it on for them.
They wanted to hear it?
You know.
You forced them here.
Whatever. Welcome to AirWreckRadio. Sit the hell down and enjoy the show. Pretty much how it goes. But I think that
God, I wish we had music royalties right now, because Hotel California line would be great right now.
If it were up to me, we would just steal it and play it and deal with it later. If there's ever a later that we have,
I don't feel like dealing with it later. I feel like learning a clean ship.
The confusion that's happening here is that nobody's necessarily talking about making legislation for allowing this girl to play. They're just getting the story out because obviously she and her parents think it's absurd that she can't play football. And when you hear the reasons like, well, he's going to pray for it, but it doesn't look likely. Come on. That's absurd. That's crazy. But it's a private school. So I guess
private
go to the public school.
organization.
Raise this problem at the public school, and I am right there with you.
Oh, yeah. Let
I
her
will
play.
be beating the drums of war over that, but you're at a Catholic school, man. You had to know what you were getting into.
Speaking of let her play, part of all of our conversation is your freedom of speech, and any time that two guys talking to a microphone don't agree with that, we have a serious problem. Let her play. I don't agree with the school's decision. It's the school's decision because it is a private school and they have the right to make it, but I don't agree with it.
It's still good that this story's out there.
I agree.
Because it's important for people to know that Catholic schools are making these kind of decisions because to most of us, they're antiquated. And if Catholic schools want to keep their enrollmentship up, they're...
the new Pope, the new Catholic Pope is really shaking some things up.
He's
I like
very
him.
moderate. He's like,
Yeah.
you can be gay and go to heaven. It's cool.
That's good. Well, that last guy was out of his mind.
They definitely chose a moderate Pope.
But if the Catholics can go moderate, I assume so can the Christian schools. But
Was
regardless
this a
of the fact,
school or a Catholic
it
school?
was a Christian school.
Oh, it's not a Catholic school.
If you would listen to the news article that was playing,
You're talking.
fair enough. It was a Christian school, to which the anchorman could not get a hold of anybody from the administration to comment. They were all unavailable for comment.
Phones were off the hook.
Weird. Oh,
That's
everybody's on
strange.
vacation.
It's funny how nobody inside wants to talk about this absurd decision
that everybody outside's talking about.
This girl wants to play football, man. Let her play football.
I saw some video of her. Check her out on the go
If
on
she
the
can't
Google.
hack it, she'll figure it out.
If she can't hack it, they'll figure it out for her.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But you don't have to.
You heard the girl. 5 sacks. Or her mom says 5. Moms love 5.
She says
4. Fine, 4 sacks.
Whatever.
Find a Buffalo Bills player with the 4 sacks recorded.
I was going to say that's more than I got, but that's a depressing point you made.
Super Mario, I take that back. Super Mario.
Okay.
All right.
I like the guy.
So do I. Good choice. I'm sorry. Good money spent as far as I'm concerned. That's a different show. Today is the tech show, not the sports show.
That'll be coming up in September, I would imagine.
But no, that's going to come up sooner than September, I'll guarantee you, because I got lots to talk about. But I say let her play. In my opinion, let her play. Go to the Facebook, find the Let Her Play page, support them, let the Christian school know that they need reform.
Is that the page? Was that a plug for the page?
Let her play. That's the page. Facebook.com, let her play.
Okay.
Just go into your Facebook, search Let Her Play. You'll find her. You can support it, and you can let that school that she goes to know that we feel that it is an archaic point of view.
But know that they don't have to listen.
They don't have
It's
to listen.
Private school.
I wouldn't even expect them to listen, but for the benefit of sleeping well at night.
Go ahead and go there.
Yeah, for the benefit of voicing your opinion and exercising your free speech, go to the websites, go to the Facebook, and support this poor girl, and let her hit somebody.
Or, if you don't support her, go ahead and go to that page, too.
And tell them why you don't support
go ahead
her.
And tell them why, because it's important to get both sides. It's important to make both sides of the story feel, because this is a good story. Both sides can argue equally, unless you're saying, she can't play football because she's a girl.
If it wasn't cliche, I'd pull a Voltaire quote out that we all know, and if you don't know it, you're listening to the wrong radio show.
I'm on this show, so, I mean, I probably know the quote, but not introduced like that. So
you don't know the famous Voltaire quote that applies here.
I don't know. Can I hear it?
Voltaire the philosopher.
Can I hear the quote?
I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it.
I feel like
it's
you
a little
should
cliche.
have said that.
No, it's too cliche. It's hacky. But if you don't know it, you're listening to the wrong radio show.
Says you.
I said 2 words of it and you got it. So, I mean...
Yeah. Also in the news this week.
Oh, your story now?
Well.
All right, go ahead.
I think we beat that one right down. Also in the news this week, we have a fun story out of Seabreeze Park about a young man named Jose Oliver. Jose Oliver worked at Seabreeze Park, And, there's a lot of sights to see at Seabreeze, and if you work there every day, you're going to see a lot of, I imagine, attractive people walking around. And Jose Oliver got a little excited about that. Took a little trip to the bathroom. He was, in there doing his thing with himself and his thing. And
his what now?
His thing. He was doing his thing with his thing.
Ding-a-ling.
His ding-a-ling. And a 10-year-old boy walked into the bathroom because these are public bathrooms with lines of troughs. I don't know where he was. Perhaps he was in a stall. I don't know. But anyway, a 10-year-old boy walked in, saw him. The park did an investigation. The park determined that this accusation was true. Oliver has lost his job, which is probably the right thing to do. Yeah. Normally I'm like, whatever. So, beating off at work is questionable behavior.
Listen. Who here in the audience hasn't, rubbed one on at work? Lord knows I have.
All the women. I'm thinking all of the women in this that listen to this show.
I don't think you know the same kind of women I know.
I know our demographic.
33%, 24 to 35 female.
Yeah, nailed it.
Unbelievable.
That's some place to be. So, Jose Oliver lost his job because he was touched himself in Seabreeze Park, and that's a pretty funny place to lose your job over that.
At Seabreeze?
At Seabreeze.
Listen, all right. First off, before I agree with you, Lord knows I hate to. At least he wasn't on the, the teacups. At least if you can't give anything to me, at least he wasn't on the teacups.
Don't they have an employee bathroom or?
You would think. Wouldn't you think
they got a locker room? There must be something more private than the bathroom that a 10-year-old boy.
Well, I don't know. But if you work at the cotton candy stand, and the
That's
cotton candy stand is 15 feet from that public bathroom.
If you can't refrain from touching yourself while you're at Seabreeze, perhaps you're in the wrong line of work. It's a good thing that he lost his job. I'm thinking.
I would be pretty pissed. Now I don't have any sons.
I have one, but he's too young for that kind of. But when he touches himself, it's just because he just found it.
Well, of course. Listen, in 2 years, you'll be like, "Look, mommy, it grows." Bing. But
creepy.
My nephew used to do that. Look, ding.
And then you were like, "Oh, what the hell's your problem?"
But I don't have any little boys. I have little girls.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what my perspective is, because what are the odds?
Well, they would all be in a stall if they were,
But what are the odds of a female walking in on a female touching herself in a public bathroom at Seabreeze? Now, touching yourself at work, when I made that comment, was a little bit different story than a public bathroom at Seabreeze.
Yeah, that's like, you go.
I thought you were talking like an office.
Lock a door or something. I don't know. Close the door on a stall. If you were in a stall, man, why didn't you close the door?
I guess he could probably play the sex addict card at this point.
He's 16. He's a little young for that.
Yeah, I guess he is a little young to prove sex addict.
I'm sorry, he's 20.
Of course, he's a provable sex addict because of his age.
I'm sorry, he's 20
Your Honor, he's 20 years old. What did you expect?
He works at Seabreeze, man. There's some sights to see. But honestly,
totally, dude. I don't blame him.
But there's a lot of people that work at Seabreeze with all those sights to see and manage to hang on to it until they get to, their safe place, not the goddamn public bathroom. That's a little absurd. So Seabreeze had a statement about that, and they say that at Seabreeze, our number one priority is the safety and comfort of our guests. When they were made aware of the situation, they immediately responded. They conducted a thorough internal investigation, and the employee was subsequently terminated. They refer to him as a new employee, so I assume he wasn't working there very long. It's the start of the season. Maybe it was his first season. Last season, too.
Last. Good night, Irene. My question is, and this is very local, couldn't he have done it in the gyrosphere? Would anybody have noticed?
That'd be a weird play. I think you run risk of injuring yourself. That's a dangerous place for that kind of business.
I don't know. It's a very local reference, and I don't know. I assume they would have them all over, just probably with different names. It's basically just a dome with a lateral ride in it, and they play loud music and show bright lights.
It's like
they used to have smoke
in a dark room.
Kind of something like a tilt-a-whirl or a what are they? Popcorn ride.
Yeah, it's a little bit like it's a pretty basic ride.
Yeah, it's a pretty basic lateral left and right ride.
You would still injure yourself.
But inside of a dome with bright lights, laser effects, and then what used to be smoke. They took the smoke out years ago, though.
But that thing is not what it used to be.
No. But couldn't you have jerked off in there instead of beating off in the public bathroom?
Couldn't you have just not jerked off?
That's also a good choice. I want to know where he worked. I want to know what ride did he run or what game did he work at? Was he at the goldfish fishbowl game?
Creepy. Let's assume he was at the water park because it doesn't say here.
Let's assume he's at the water park
because that's at least understandable. I don't want to.
At least he was overstimulated. I guess
criminalize him more than he deserves.
Yeah, was he taking tickets? Well, I mean, there's a little bit different there than staring at girls in bikinis all day. I guess a little more sympathy for the guy who's got to stare at the girls in bikinis all day at 16 years old.
Right, that's a tough job. But still, people manage to do it and not.
That's also true.
Get caught by a 10-year-old in the bathroom touching yourself.
And I've been around the area. It's Ironically, there's some woods to be found. I mean, it's
go home. Go home. Just put it in your bank and go home. Open the vault and have a party, man.
Listen, the fresher the spank material, the better the spank material.
I don't agree. Not in this situation.
Neither do I, but I had to say it.
So that's the end of that story.
Well, it's a good thing it's the end of the story.
Is it?
Because though we're a little bit early for a break, I really, really have to pee. Stace, close out the show for me.
Oh, man, I don't know how to run the board. So, how about those Oakland A's, right? I mean, what the hell? Stacy, I'm you from the future. I know who you are, pal. This ain't my first time at the rodeo. What the hell do you want? What, that's it? You don't even want me to prove it? Whatever, dude, fine. Do I ever marry the girl of my dreams? Dude, it's 2013. You already did. Right. Now what do you want? I've come to warn you about the future. In 2063, we kill Corey because of his stupid time checks. Ugh, I hate those. Me too, but that's not the point. No matter what, you can't kill Corey. He's the only one who knows how to run the board. Okay, whatever. I won't kill him. How'd you do it? Do what? Time travel? No, asshole, I don't care about that. How'd you kill Corey? Oh, I used my ray gun. You have a ray gun? Sure do, see? Can I see it? Sure, here you go. Wait, whoa. Whoa. No! Idiot. Jeez. I swear, if I had $1 for every time one of my idiot future selves tried to tell me how to run my life. Corey, get in here and show me how to run the board.
I'm coming. To go to break is this button right here.
Inside this room, I toss and turn, strapped down to a velvet gurney, and I promise that I'll sleep tonight. I'm crossing my heart, and I'm hoping to die. Run and not look back to the
Thank you for listening. We want to take a moment to speak to you about a subject that I am sure is close to all of our hearts. All we are asking for is a few simple seconds of your day to save one of these poor creatures. Abused, neglected, and forgotten. It's simply disturbing. These pseudo broadcasters are left without anyone to interview or to create all their content for them. Let's face it, this job's a lot easier when someone else does all the heavy lifting. Please, take just a few seconds of your day to help these poor, neglected creatures by emailing them AirWreckRadio@gmail.com with your booking suggestions and feedback. Thank you for your time and compassion.
Wild Bill, take 4. Oops, no, Wild Bill, take 5.
Billy Hickok was a boy from Illinois when he set out to do his best. As a guide he sailed along the trails that were etched in the dust of the West. When war broke out, Bill became a scout, but gambling had seized his soul. With cards and Colts in his hands, while Bill became a man who would fight till his last hand folded. When it can close his weary eyes, when it can lay his body down.
Hey everybody, welcome back to AirWreck Radio. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Please get on Facebook, check us out there, give us a like. We really, really, really like being liked. We got 45, we want 60 by next week, so tell your friends.
By next week, I want 60 in the next 20 minutes.
Tell your friends, tell your friends' friends. Tell your friends' friends' moms. Tell everybody. Check out AirWreck Radio, they're doing a lot of good stuff. We're not yet, but we will be someday, promise.
Someday there'll be real content here.
Check us out on Twitter at AirWreckRadio. Please email us at airwreckradio@gmail.com. Email us there with your address and I will send you flowers. The first 2 sets of flowers are in the mail today. You're gonna love the flowers you get.
We have emailers, sir?
We do. We have 2 of them this week. The first 2 we've had, I've been dying to mail flowers. I finally got the opportunity to do it.
Thank God somebody made this fool mail some freaking flowers.
So a quick thanks to our friend Casey for finally sending us in an email, and also to my wife,
Casey,
Tammy, who also sent in an email. I did mail flowers to my own mailing address. Don't think I cheaped out. I paid for stamps.
Good for you.
Totally did.
How much does that cost nowadays?
I don't know. It's funny that you should call me out about that. I used the stamp thing at work, and they just said I could. So I didn't actually pay for stamps. But I did provide postage.
I totally didn't mean to blow up your spot, brother.
Thanks, man. That's cool. That's cool. That really leads to a nice, smooth segue about today's topic, Tech Talk.
Tech Talk.
You're going to love Tech Talk.
I should come up with a little bit of production for Tech Talk.
You probably
Tech
should.
Talk.
You got time.
I do that.
So first up is 3D printers. 3D printers do the coolest thing. It's like an inside-out CNC machine, really.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking a block of metal and forming it into a shape and just, burning off a bunch of waste, they lay out the polymer or whatever it is that they're going to use for whatever job they're doing.
Different materials.
Oh, yeah, huge. But you can still, I believe you can still use some metals.
Oh, yeah, there's metals involved.
You can definitely 3D print with just about whatever you want. One of the things that's being 3D printed these days, shoes.
Yeah, that's
shoes.
a wise choice at that, if you think about it.
It really is. They're totally like the perfect thing for it, because if you get a custom-made set of shoes, if you're an athlete, a custom-made set of shoes would cost about thousands.
And truly disposable. It's like one of the few things in your life you're going to buy with the intent of throwing away.
Yeah, you're absolutely going to ruin shoes. I mean, some professional athletes wear shoes once, and then they're done.
Some rappers wear shoes once.
It's good for them. That's more of a fashion thing than an actual.
That's more of a gluttony thing.
Yeah. But what they're going to be doing in the very, very near future, in fact, Brooks Shoes has already got one shoe that's got a completely 3D printed upper panel of the shoe.
Okay, just the upper, not the sole.
Not the whole shoe, just the upper panel.
From the water up.
From the tip of your toe to the tongue.
Yeah.
All one piece. And what that does is it helps to limit the amount of contact that it makes with your skin, the contact points. You don't get blisters.
It's to reduce the amount of blisters. Plus, I point out that the more that you can make something a single membrane, the more you can make something a single piece, the less seams there are, the less likely you are to leak.
Oh, that's a fact, yeah. It's also, it's more cost effective, and it's more dexterous than having seams. Because seams are hard, they don't bend like a foot bends, but the seamless shoe top bends with your shoe, or bends with your foot. A couple other companies are working on it. New Balance plans to release...
where's the Nike New Balance on this?
New Balance plans to release a running shoe for the average runner that'll be completely 3D printed using a 3D scan of your foot. It'll be a custom-fitted shoe.
I'm in.
And it'll be at a department store price.
If we had a visual element to the show, you could look at my feet and realize I'm wearing New Balances. I'm in. New Balance has got a 3D shoe. I'm in, baby.
And they would make it custom for
custom
you.
Foot to my triple wide
to
foot.
Your weird
awesome.
Feet. Yep, absolutely.
Oh my God, I have horrible feet. To get a custom made shoe would be unbelievably awesome.
This 3D printing in shoes is one great example of how 3D printing is going to help everybody except the people at the shoe factories. They're going to suffer a little bit for the 3D printed shoes.
But not at the factory that makes the 3D printers for shoe making.
That's right. The 3D printer factory is going to be booming.
And you know what? I always wanted to learn AutoCAD.
And now you might get a chance.
But
that job is going to be in demand because pretty soon that's just how things are going to be manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things being manufactured these days that has really become a hot button issue for 3D printing is firearms. Firearms can be completely 3D printed. Completely 3D printed. The only thing you need not 3D printed is a bullet. You actually don't need that.
Mark my words, within the next decade, half a decade, there will be a printable 3D bullet.
Oh, absolutely.
They're using soft metals right now to do 3D printing.
There might already be one.
By the time they get around it, we'll have lead bullets.
They have airsoft pistols that shoot 22 caliber rounds, 38 caliber round pellet guns they have. And
working on air.
You could totally 3D print a pellet.
I could 3D pick up a rock in the middle of the yard.
So I'm saying, 3D printed ammunition is not very far off.
I mean, it's such a simple CAD design. It's just a matter of the material it's made out of.
So here's the thing: if you have a 3D printer of high enough quality, you could potentially print off a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
And that weapon would have no traceable. It would be completely untraceable. Where did it come from? Who made
it? When you're done.
It might melt itself while you're using it.
A lot of them right now are made out of plastics.
Cheap plastics, yeah.
Most of them are disposable. I've seen articles about it. Most of them are disposable. They only last 1, 2, 3. The best ones last 7, 8. And it depends whether they're a hybrid, whether they're made entirely out of the polymers, or whether the firing pin and the barrel are made out of the metal and the rest of it's polymer. But as to how long they last. But what a perfect mob gun. They used to say the 22 was the best mob gun. It was tiny, compact, you could fit it in your hand, took one bullet at the back of the skull to scramble a brain. Job's done. The gun was so small it was easy to throw away.
Well, the thing of it is that they don't need to be very durable because they're super easy to make.
I need one bullet.
You only need one bullet to do what you have a gun for.
If I want to end your life, all I have to do is walk up behind you with one bullet.
Even if it was a self-defense bullet. A self-defense gun. You'd got totally feasible to allow people to carry a self-defense gun, which is disposable.
I wanted to go to the little theater tonight to see our friends, the Band of Brothers, performing. Let me print off a 9 real quick. I got one on me just in case we get mugged.
Yeah, that's a hardcore crowd at the Band of Brothers show.
No, but I got to walk to the little theater.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot in between.
There's definitely
me and that good banjo music.
Right. That's a fair point. Firearms enthusiasts would say that you never know when you're going to need it, but it is better to have it and not need it.
They're in that simplest of arguments. They're right,
and they are. When you put it that simply, they're right. But these 3D guns can be manufactured, bought, and sold without being traceable at all, and that's
I mean,
kind of a hot issue these
what
days.
if it costs you $50 to make a gun that's good for one bullet?
I'm saying
$50 equals one human life.
should it be so available? I think that's like really what it comes down to.
What it comes down to is, even though this technology is dangerous, do we suppress the technology just because it's dangerous?
Well, we're in luck because we don't have to make those decisions. We elect people who make those decisions for us, whether it's with our best interest in mind or the best interest of whoever.
I'm sorry, what were we saying? Yes.
Wow. I believe I was saying that we have elected officials who make these decisions for us, and some of them are, particularly here in New York State, several New York lawmakers are working towards legislation to regulate or criminalize. You're going to enjoy that later.
I love anytime you fuck up. Mess up. Enjoy anytime you mess up.
A bunch of lawmakers in New York State are working to criminalize or regulate the manufacture of 3D printed guns as well as the distribution. Earlier this month, in New York City, Councilmember Louis Fiedler introduced a bill to make it illegal for people to produce any part of a firearm or ammunition clips unless they are licensed gunsmiths.
Whoa.
Fiedler says that without regulations, these weapons would be completely anonymous, no identifying marks, no histories. I gotta say, why are you making a gun if you're not a gunsmith?
This is a joke.
Is it? I don't know if it is. It's actually a news
joke.
story.
No, it's a joke. Bad guys don't follow gun laws. They're criminals. If they follow the laws, they wouldn't be criminals. So you say, hey, it's illegal to make an illegal gun. It's illegal to own, possess, fire, distribute illegal guns, but people do it every day because they're bad guys.
Well,
doesn't matter if you write a law.
Hold on now.
All right, I'm sorry.
The other end of that argument,
I'm sorry,
is that you could make the same argument that if there were no laws, there'd be no criminals. You could dumb that down right to that statement. Get rid of what you're making laws about and just say if there weren't laws, there wouldn't be people breaking them.
You have a tendency to overgeneralize things.
You made it very specific.
To which you broaden the spectrum until it dumbed it down.
There's some need for regularization of this kind of thing. Because someday you're going to
I agree, there's some need for something written down on a piece of paper.
Good news, there already is.
Well, yeah.
It's called the... Hold on now. I have it.
This is why we need a producer.
The Undetectable Firearms Act, which is a federal level law that was enacted a couple years ago, not a whole ton of years ago.
At the federal level?
At the federal level, it's the Undetectable Firearms Act, which makes it illegal to manufacture, import, sell, ship, deliver, possess, transfer, or receive any firearm that is not detectable by a walk-through metal detector. The way 3D printer...
Oh, that's a big problem, too. Plastics.
The way 3D printer companies are dealing with this, like Texas-based group Defense Distribution, they have made a gun that they posted on their website, the schematics for, the whatever it takes. You download the gun, and then it prints on your 3D printer. And it involves only two metal parts. A metal nail for a firing pin and a 6-ounce metal weight that's only there so it's detectable through a metal detector. So I'm saying that one skirts the law, but how hard is it to make it without the metal?
That's a good question. No, I never even thought... The way you described that law, the numbers that they use, I never thought about it that way. How much metal is required?
I would assume 6 ounces. I would assume that this gun that they made just to skirt the law probably just skirts the law.
I never thought about it that way, because like a firing pin could still be metal and still totally...
It's too small.
And still totally undetectable by a metal detector.
Yeah, if it's wrapped in plastic, it's too small.
But a Glock...
Mm-hmm.
The only thing metal on it is the chamber, the barrel, and the firing pin, and it sets off a metal detector. That's fair enough.
Plus, it's the chamber and the barrel. I mean, those are big parts, so I think it seems reasonable.
I'm just curious. I don't have the information. This is why I wish we had a producer, because I wish I had that information.
We have a producer. He's talking. Well, he was talking. Then I was talking.
A live producer.
Oh. We have a zombie producer? I don't understand what's going on here.
Yes, he's talking right now. But the 3D firearm brings up a lot of great points because what is home protection? Can I 3D print a bazooka? Eventually.
That's
not today.
That's
clearly
taking it a little far because you need explosives.
By the year 2063, there might be a printable bazooka.
There might be, but you would need to have all the ingredients on hand to make the explosive, and I'm sure that some of those ingredients, at least, are regulated.
I would hope all of them are, but
maybe not, though.
It might be bleach and
right. I'm saying it could be
couple of match heads.
You raise a more interesting point than the bazooka joke really lends value to, because
you're right.
The homeowner be able to, if they have the ability to print up a gun, be able to do that. It's their home. But don't take it out of the home with you. It's a home protection weapon.
But I mean, on the counter argument to my own point, if I had a piece of PVC, some ether, a tennis ball, and some a box of stick matches, I could make a bazooka right now.
If you swapped that tennis ball for a potato, you'd have a 200-mile-an-hour baked potato.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole point, is I can make a potato gun with a flammable projectile. I'm not too far off a goddamn bazooka.
I don't know what the laws are about potato guns, but I'm suddenly very interested to find out.
At what point is that different from 3D printing? Manufacturing.
Right. Well, I think probably at the point that it fires a lethal, like a deemed lethal velocity round.
I could fire a lethal round with a potato gun. Bet me I couldn't.
I'm not saying you couldn't.
Bet me I couldn't, please.
I'm not saying you couldn't. I'm saying, is it deemed lethal? Is it? I don't know I don't know the law for that. I don't know how they come to that.
So not only do we need a producer,
there has to be a difference.
Not only do we need a producer, we need a lawyer too. This is great.
We got those.
Oh yeah?
Well, I have a lawyer.
Well, good for you.
And those DWI lawyers, we could call them like
I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer too, but I'm pretty sure he won't come on the air.
That's the trouble with lawyers. They're smart. So,
or scumbags. I really wanted to put what would have been deemed a very racial joke in there.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Me too, but I'm guilty enough to my manliness that I had to reference it.
Okay.
Does that sound fair to you at all?
I don't know where the show's going anymore now. I'm lost in the moment because...
Wait a minute. You knew where the show was going?
I thought that we had a plan. I did. I thought that was happening.
This is AirWreckRadio. We don't do that. We were talking about technology.
Oh, that's right. Technology.
We're talking about 3D printed guns and whether they should or should not exist. Are they a natural part of technological evolution, or should be people kept from this bit of technology? Is the conversation at hand. I believe, personally, that you cannot keep technology from the people. It's not possible. It's not a matter of whether you should or you shouldn't. It cannot happen. So I believe the conversation is moot. If people are going to 3D print guns, they're going to 3D print guns. You can't stop it. All you can do is regulate it as best you can and enforce the laws.
I do believe that. I do agree with you. Absolutely. It requires some regulation, but you can't ban it. It's not going to work. It's just point blank. It's not going to work. People are going to make it. Criminals are going to make it, and then you got criminals doing it, but nobody else. That's ridiculous. It's just stupid.
Well, that's the problem, because you make it so illegal that only criminals can do it.
Right. I'd like to point out, no, actually not just criminals, people who are good people otherwise, but then become criminals. I would like to point out that while I was doing the research for this story, I thought it was very interesting that New York lawmakers are against it. The group that's for it is in Texas.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a good point.
That's where they categorize the most interesting hot-button states for this thing. Texas and New York.
It's very stereotypical. But what I want to know, very curious, since we're a local show, I want to know about where we live, because we have a tendency to be a very red county.
Yes.
And a very blue state.
Blue state, yeah.
So I really want to know from our friends and our listeners. I want to know from our friends and our listeners. I want to know from our interviewees and their friends. I want to know, what is your stance on this very liberal versus conservative subject, 3D printed guns?
Yes, no.
Laws, no laws. Do they qualify under the 3D? Do they qualify under the gun laws now? Or do we have to make a whole set of laws to themselves? Please go to the Facebook. Please go to the Twitters. Go to facebook.com/AirWreckRadio and go to the Twitters at AirWreckRadio and weigh in. Let us know what you think about this subject, because this applies to you because you live in one of those hot button states.
That's fact.
Or you more than likely
everybody's
do.
Strongly opinionated about firearms, and it's my opinion.
And you should be.
You should be. You should, well, one way or the other, you should have a very noticeable opinion about firearms.
About everything.
I don't care what your opinion is. I do care.
I do care.
I care that you have an opinion.
Bingo.
Whatever it is, whether it's my
Back
opinion
to Voltaire.
or another opinion, voice it. Let people know, because even if they disagree with you, it helps balance things that people know that people disagree with them. My opinion on this is that current gun law could probably be just, I'm pretty sure that you could fit 3D guns mostly into gun laws. I think that you could just make a couple of little changes in verbiage here and there, but I'm pretty sure that it could fit into standing gun laws.
I agree totally.
Chuck Schumer does not agree, and that's
of course. Chucky boy, what else can you do to get in front of the cameras, Chuck?
Well, he's our representative, and we get to vote
he loves
for
the
him.
camera.
He does. He's the one sponsoring the.
I voted for Chuck.
I probably did too. He's one of the people that sponsored the legislation to get 3D guns fit into the Undetectable Firearms Act, which is using a current law and just fitting this into there.
Fitting a new situation into it, which I like very much. We don't need new laws.
It's good stuff.
As far as Chuck Schumer goes, I don't always agree with his politics.
Not at all.
But I do like the fact that he's very loud.
Yeah.
His voice is heard.
That's good.
I like that.
We need strong leadership. It's good to have strong leadership rather than just the aristocracies that get raised up into leadership roles in this state and other states.
It freaking amazes me, this 3D printing.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
This 3D printing is really going to be what unlocks the next...
You could manufacture anything.
Anything, dude. I mean, anything at any scale.
Mm-hmm.
From giant to microscopic.
That's fact.
It amazes me now the head that we're hitting. We're hitting a head now where technology is advancing quickly again. I observe that we go through highs and lows of technological advancement, where things go very, very quickly and then they slow down. And we kind of stick with the same kind of things.
Well, you get to a
just
point
kind of slowly improving on them,
where you make better uses to the point where it's the better uses aren't so pronounced because they're little better, but enough little better uses makes for huge improvements over a short period of time.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference. Is you make a huge leap and then you have to improve on that.
Right. It's like that half
idea.
The distance thing. You go, the first half is long, and then the next half is short, and then the next half, and then the next half gets progressively short. It gets progressively smaller in scale
until it doesn't move at all. Until the next giant leap.
Next thing comes along. Like
wow,
right now,
very cosmic of you, sir.
Right now we're using computers, right? But we can sit here and know that pretty soon we won't be using laptop computers.
Oh yeah,
we'll be using tablets or smartphones or like
and what's the step past that
thing,
exactly.
Or a projector of some sort. I mean, we know that we're right there now, but we're really reaching the pinnacle of efficiency in computers.
There's a tipping point here somewhere in the future.
It's a tipping point.
There's a tipping point somewhere in the future, which we've reached before. Somewhere after the locomotive and before the first PC, we reached that tipping point before.
Yeah,
and we're going to reach it again. I mean, and this is a grand scale kind of thing. This is not a foreseeable future kind of thing.
Oh, I don't think it's not foreseeable.
I think the upscale is foreseeable, but the next peak is not.
Right. All right. Yeah. All right.
I think we can see the movement towards more in front of our eyes, but we're not going to see the top of that and then the downcline again. Like, we've seen the downcline of the old peak, and we're going to see the rise of the new peak, but we're not going to see the new peak.
Like, someday we're going to be able to download ourselves into a
When we die, we'll download into a mainframe or perhaps another body or something, but we're probably not going to get there.
Speaking of downloading yourself into a mainframe, it all starts from the basis of research of communicating human electrical signal into data.
Mm-hmm.
Proven positive by something called the DECA arm. Have you heard of this before?
I don't think I have.
There is a group of research by the DARPPA.
DARPA.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've heard of it.
I have.
Working with the U.S. government and a couple of other smaller private sector charities have developed a robotic. I'm going to say it again. Robotic prosthetic for arm replacement.
How much of the arm?
Up to 90%.
Wow.
Up to 90%.
So if you got a shoulder and a little bit hanging, you're
bingo.
You're good.
As long as you have the musculature of the top of the bicep and anything below that. The DECA arm is currently still in its research phases, but it's right there. I mean, it's right at the cusp of coming out. The big issues they have right now is power source.
They have a prototype that runs on a 220 plug that you couldn't carry around with.
Not even 220, but yes.
But
the
I mean,
issue is power
it's more
source,
than what you could carry.
Oh yeah, it's more than you can carry right now. But
not if you had robot legs too.
Well, that's the big interesting thing is most of the advancement in prosthetics have come in leg replacement.
Oh yeah, you see those
because they're deemed more necessary than hands.
Well, they kind of are. Motivation's a big motivator.
Plus, the leg and the foot is more simplistic of a mechanism.
It does a much simpler
than
job.
Your arm and hand.
You will very rarely have to eat spaghetti with your feet.
Bingo! It's about amount of pressure. It's about variances and control. It's about which the DECA arm represents. It uses a series of pads in the foot to control the arm. Now,
you press buttons with your toes.
With your toes, and the heel of your foot, the arch of your foot, your toes.
That takes some dexterity, but if you don't have an arm to worry about,
it would take some training. But you'd get used to it. If you go, CBS had a 60 Minutes on it. If you go on the Googles, you throw it in the DECA arm in the Googles.
Yeah,
you'll find the CBS 60 Minutes report about it. I mean, this guy was picking up grapes and not crushing them.
Didn't he do something more cool than that?
But the ability to crush things like glass,
like I picked up a grape,
and put it in his mouth and ate it without crushing
the grape, but then destroyed Manhattan with a single swipe of his robot arm.
Possible evidence of futuristic cybernetic improvement.
That's a questionable thing for people that we're not even to the point of needing to talk about that, but it is
not even
fun
near
thing to talk about.
It sure is. Would you replace an arm for cybernetic improvement?
I would replace an eye for a cybernetic eye if the only thing
Majority
that
of
I
Ford
did
style,
was
baby.
glow red. That's all it needs to. It doesn't even need to see. It could just be an LED.
It's about the Kano eye.
Yeah,
from Mortal Kombat.
Or Locutus's head thing.
Oh, and that's a reference to what now, sir?
That'd be Star Trek, and I believe anybody who doesn't know that doesn't care.
I am Locutus of Borg. But the DECA arm, because we got off on a nerd tangent.
Oh, we're talking about robot arms. What the hell?
The segue to that was human electrical signal into data. There's side projects going on that are involved with the DECA arm about using electrical current from data process from muscle movement to create data.
So you would move your fingers, and your fingers would move.
Well, a lot of times amputees say that they can still move the hand.
Right.
It's not there to move, but they can still do it.
It's there.
Their brain can still make that happen.
Right.
So what they're finding is they can put electrodes on muscles.
Very nice.
On muscles, and deter. As the patient uses their hand that's no longer there, the musculature in the arm still moves, and then that can control the arm via a wireless connection. It feeds the computer via wired because it's electrodes, and then the computer feeds the hand wirelessly to control a robotic hand. It looks like the hand out of Terminator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a well-designed hand. James
really
Cameron is known for his
yes, the explorer, James Cameron.
Yeah.
Yes,
he definitely
absolutely.
doesn't screw around when it comes to detail.
But it's very close to that. And by the time they master that technology, and you manage to throw that into the Deca arm, you'll be able to use that arm without the toe controls. Just the thought of being able to squeeze your hand, the Deca arm will be able to squeeze its hand, right down to everybody's favorite gesture.
Peace?
Yeah, that's the one.
Was it peace?
My question is, if you're the guy who's training for this, how long does it take you to train to throw your middle finger up? Just because, I mean, come on.
As long as it takes to get through a Kid Rock song. I'm thinking the robot hand actually does it itself. Kid Rock comes on.
Fuck
You
this.
just said throw your finger in the air. I can't help it. That's stupid. It doesn't do that.
But then the question is down to power source.
Yeah, what are you going to run that with? Because that's got to be... Is it hydraulic or electric?
The arm?
Yeah.
Is electric.
Electric. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's smaller than hydraulic.
Yeah. That's the whole point. It only weighs 9 pounds. The Deca arm weighs 9 pounds.
Until you put a battery on it.
Ooh, total with the power line. Yeah. Maybe once you put a battery in it, it would change the... battery enough to power it would probably definitely change the weight.
I wonder how long
by 100 pounds
a
or so.
snap-on 18-volt drill battery would run the Deca arm for.
I don't know, for 14, 15 minutes. I don't know.
You really think it'd be that little? It probably would. That's a lot of
tiny actuating motors.
I guess it depends on what you're doing.
That's a good question too. Masturbating.
I was going to go with playing a guitar because I found a picture online of somebody doing that.
With prosthetic arm?
Yeah, with the Deca arm.
With the Deca arm?
Playing guitar. I'm actually going to put it on Facebook.
Oh, you absolutely put that on Facebook.
I'm doing it right now.
The most impressive thing I have is a grape and a bottle of water. That's awesome.
Yeah, they have it's a photo, so I mean, he could just be holding a guitar. But he didn't break it. So that's something.
Yeah, that's a start. He picked it up, put it in his hands.
That's almost more than I can do with a guitar.
In the 60 Minutes interview, one of the guys who prototyped it, one of the guys who tested it, after he was done, referenced it as his arm several times in the conversation.
Yeah.
That he's been missing for 20 years.
That's pretty interesting.
He'd had one of the old hook prosthetic arms that hasn't changed since World War II. After he'd used the Deca arm for a couple of days, he started referencing it as his arm.
Does it have? Do they get like textual feedback?
It's a very rudimentary textual feedback, but of course, pressure wise, it's based on vibrations. X amount of pressure equals X amount of vibration. So they know at what point is a light light pressure, heavy pressure, extreme pressure, based on the vibration that it's caused in the back of the arm where it meets their, I don't know what the politically correct word is. Whatever the politically correct word is for where metal meets skin.
The event horizon?
I
guess.
The edge of, I guess. Yeah, that's what event horizon means. So, speaking of metal meets skin, do you know what this little doohickey, this little gadget's nickname is?
Which, the Deca arm? It has a nickname other than the Deca arm?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't.
Luke.
That's cute. Because Luke Skywalker had the robot hand. Yeah.
Bingo. I thought that was a cute little tieback. Deca arm, no. The reason why it's called the Deca arm because it's made by Deca Industries, which is the company that invented the Segway.
Wow, they are on top of...
yeah.
I mean, they really missed the mark with that Segway, but...
and I stand by it, and you might argue with me, we missed the mark on Segway.
I don't think I did, man.
We as a society missed the mark on the Segway.
Some folks did, I guess. But, I mean, let's say you're in New York City, right? And everybody in New York City's got a Segway. Now the sidewalk's a disaster.
No, it's not, because it's controlled.
A Segway takes up more place than two people.
No, it doesn't take two people. I'll give you two people.
Yeah.
But so everybody's in a double file, one way each way line.
But like, you know how when you're in a crowd of people, you can squeeze your shoulders together and kind of maneuver your way through?
That's what causes chaos.
Can't do that on a Segway.
This would cause order.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Listen, that's why I don't live in a big city.
I happen to notice that they don't use
You throw a shoulder
Segways.
into me while I'm walking down the sidewalk, I'm pushing you back. I'll just, out of instinct, I'll just be, who are you shoving?
I'm going to be looking for you on a sidewalk.
We live in a much smaller city.
With no sidewalks outside of the city.
Yeah, exactly. We live in a town outside of a city. That's a good. We live in different towns outside of a city.
That's not true. We actually live in the same town. Unless you're a Pittsford address.
Yes, I am.
That's horseshit. Then I'm Rush. Then we're 2 towns apart.
Yes.
Also horseshit.
Also horseshit since we're like 5 miles apart.
Right.
But that's.
But there's a town in between that 5 miles.
And it's called Henrietta.
It's a big town. With a big bunch of traffic.
And a mall. And a mall. But it's a good mall.
Several overpopulated plazas.
So
Deca Arm is cool.
Deca Arm is beyond cool. And I like Deca Arm because what it is a small bit of foreshadowing towards the future. A future that is today, sir.
Is it today?
It is most certainly today. Well, I guess it was 9 days ago. June 15, 2013.
Ooh, fresh story.
At the Global Futures 2045 International Congress, a Japanese roboticist named Hiroshi Ishiguro. I got it. Hiroshi Ishiguro. Director of the Intelligent Robotics Laboratory at Osaka University, Japan, has developed the Geminoid, an android resembling a real person. And in fact, as Stacy loves to point out, he's developed 2.
Yeah, one of them is a Japanese girl bot. She's pretty.
I can't believe that I'm the one taking the high road on this. It's so strange.
I believe it.
There were 2 Hiroshi Ishiguros on stage. The living, breathing one, and a robotic lookalike. The bot's human resemblance was striking, even down to its tiny movements, muscle spasms, and blinking eyes. At the end of Ishiguro's talk, his robotic likeness spoke up, saying that next time, he himself would give a much better presentation than the real Ishiguro.
I'm telling you, do a quick search on Google for the Geminoid robot, and it is outstanding what this. If you were in a crowd of people,
you would have no idea.
You might think that guy looks a little weird, but you would think he's a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you would absolutely. I mean,
absolutely.
And that's only if you noticed him, because he looks so much like the roboticist that built him. He looks like a real person.
And the way you say those words, I ask our Star Trek fans out there, if there are any, is this Data's grandfather?
No.
In the likeness of his creator.
Data doesn't have a grandfather.
You know what I'm saying?
Noonien soon traveled time.
You know what I'm saying.
I know. But I know that the fact.
Is the 3D printer the grandfather to the replicator?
Oh, well, probably, maybe a little bit at least. It's not quite making something out of nothing, but
it's close. Is Ishiguro
the actual Noonien soon? Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah, really. He made one just like him, didn't he?
Now, how does it operate?
Right now, it's remotely controlled. Clearly, we don't have artificial intelligence to run it.
That's unfortunate.
But it's remotely controlled.
Maybe it's not.
For the moment, let's say it's not.
Yeah.
Let's be a little more advanced before we start messing with that.
Yeah.
But for the moment, it's remotely controlled via Wi-Fi. And a computer algorithm. In the presentation, he was being remotely controlled by Ishiguro's partner.
So he has
behind the scenes.
He has both a person controlling him and an algorithm that maintains his unconscious behaviors.
Bingo.
Kind of like a human does.
Bingo. Exactly like a human does.
Has a
conscious and a subconscious
conscious brain doing
Bingo.
The things like talking and laughing and drinking beer and walking, but an unconscious brain that does the things like maintaining walking once direction's passed, or twitching eye muscles, or heart beating, which obviously this one doesn't have a heart to beat, does it?
Not that I know of, but theoretically it's possible since a lot of its controls could be hydraulic.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it would have some form of pump pushing fluid throughout its body. That would be a heart. Yeah. So on its basic level, yeah, I guess it probably does have a heart pumping of some sort.
Unless it's an exterior thing. That's not really the same.
Not really.
Nah. It's cool. But while we're on the subject...
futuristic, man. That's tomorrow's steps. I've said it before and I'll say it again. What we can't do today, we'll do tomorrow. If all its hydraulics are controlled from an outside pump now...
Oh, that's true, yeah.
By next week, they'll figure out how to put one inside its gut.
Right.
You know what I mean? By next month, it'll be walking around on its own.
Yeah.
In 10 years, it'll have Watson, that supercomputer, the thinker, shoved into it, and it'll be walking around pretending to be human.
And then in 30 years, Terminator.
And then in 50 years, it'll be able to... Well, yeah, 50 years.
In 250 years, Transformers, and we're gone.
Well, yeah, and at some point, it can think on its own. It's not a program anymore.
Right.
It's, you know what I mean?
That's Terminator.
Terminator really...
Skynet was
it could learn. Skynet could, but not Terminator.
Yes, he could.
He could learn.
He totally could learn and make.
He could learn. So could Watson. Watson can learn too.
Watson was on Jeopardy.
Yeah. Because you can access the internet and Google it.
I always thought that was kind of lame.
Scumbag.
That's not really that cool. That
you're just
Watson
tapping into human intelligence.
Right.
Is all you're doing.
All right. Now, if Watson was on Wheel of Fortune, that's a little better. Price is Right, not so much better. I don't know what game Watson could play that would really impress me about its intelligence.
Chess. Unplugged.
No, because they have robots that do that.
Unplugged. Yeah. And humans have beat them consistently.
I think there's at least one computer that has beat all humans.
No, he was not unbeaten. He was beaten by a human. There was a whole big story about it in the 80s, I think it was.
Whatever. So one human could beat a computer that beat every other human.
That's a unplugged from the data network, from the internet, running on its own learning algorithm, beating a master at his own game. It'd probably take him 3 games before it could.
Doesn't it make you feel better that it couldn't just do it?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to sleep a little better knowing that at least one human was smarter than a chess bot.
Well, I guess that's limited to our capacity to understand because it's not something that's available now.
Right.
Outside of our ability to understand that a human taught it how to do it.
What's the Japanese girl bot's name?
I would assume it's still Geminoid.
They got to give it a cuter name than that. Why did they make a hot robot?
Because they're twins.
No, they're not. I'm looking at pictures right now. They are not twins.
The whole point of Geminoid is that they're twins.
Oh, I see. Like
Gemini.
Yeah, I got it.
They're twins, so it's Geminoid. We do.
It's unusual that Japanese people would use our same star names. I wonder if it has a different name in Japan.
Maybe it does. It probably does.
They just translated it.
Robin Williams has a joke about that panda.
Panda that wouldn't fuck to save its species?
That's the one. In Japan, its name was, Iron Bear with Steel Cock.
Yeah.
And here his name was Poe.
Yeah, something gets lost in the translation with most Asian languages.
Yeah, that's why Geminoid probably has a better name, in the actual Japanese language. I cannot believe on Android, dude.
Yeah,
Android, man,
not live.
You wouldn't
moving be Android that looks like a person.
It's a freaking Android. You wouldn't freaking believe your eyes if you saw it. I watched the news article 3 times. I couldn't believe the thing. It was awesome.
I can't tell if the girl bot looks better or if I'm just willing to forgive it.
I'm totally willing to forgive it because it might have an orifice I can put something in.
Say it. I really want to know that piece of information.
How much does that cost? Whether it's anatomically correct?
Yeah, I mean, you go through all the trouble of making a robot. Why would you make a robot you can't fuck? I don't see the point.
Oh, what a perv, and I totally agree with you. And if you agree or disagree with us, please check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters. Throw us in the Google, AirWreckRadio, one word. You'll find plenty of information about us. Coming up next, after our break, we're going to have a little interview with a gentleman I like to call Trevor Years, and I like to call him that because it's his name. He's a good guy. He's from Years Motorsports. He's coming in studio to talk about his favorite charity and the one that's most important to him, and that's racing for autism, when we come back on AirWreckRadio.
Have you ever noticed when you encounter a cat stare at you and you stare back and you know they're thinking secret feline thoughts? Ever wondered, just like me, what those secret feline thoughts might be? I suspect they were calling lessons that their mamas taught. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could take you. Weighed 10 more pounds, well, you'd be mine. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, I'd cut you down to size. Since I don't, I guess I'll run and hide. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could drop you. I could fill your puny human heart with fear. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, I'd play you like a mouse. Oh, but since I don't, I guess I'll let you scratch my ear. Well, if your best friend's cat jumps in your lap as soon as you greeted, entered, and sat, and you think he likes me as he begins to purr, well, you tickle his ears, you rub his chin. By that time, the teeth and the claws sink in, and you realize it's evil incarnate wrapped up in fur. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could take you. If I weighed 10 more pounds, you'd be mine. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, I'd cut you down to size. But since I don't, I guess I'll run and hide. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could drop you. I could fill your silly human heart with fear. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, I'd play you like a mouse. Oh, but since I don't, I guess I'll let you scratch my ear. Well, you walk your way up to your door, steps climbed, and there once more a mousy organ waits in all its glory. Is it a trophy or perhaps a threat? 10 more pounds, it'd be you I had. A bigger cat might be a different story. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could take you. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, you'd be mine. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, I'd cut you down to size. Then you'd be the one to run and hide. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could drop you. So you best be careful and always treat me right. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, you wouldn't stand a chance. And I'm planning on putting on a little extra weight. Oh, I'm planning on putting on a little extra weight.
We're coming, America. Ooh. When I'm stuck here all alone.
These are the AirWreckRadio interviews.
Let me hear Wonderwall, baby.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the waters on the street that defying your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had it down. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now.
Welcome back, and thank you for listening to AirWreck Radio. Please make sure that you stop and check us out at the Facebooks, facebook.com/AirWreckRadio.
Give us your likes.
Give us your likes. While you're there, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to slide on down to Years Motorsports. I want you to like their page, and I want to give them all the support that we can give them. We have in studio with us tonight Trevor Years from Years Motorsports to talk about their charity, Racing for Autism, and his personal passion for dirt.
Hopefully we're also talking about race cars. We're talking about race cars, right, Trevor?
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk a lot about this.
Good.
I'm glad you nailed that. There's part of our number. Cars?
Yeah,
race
we
cars. Race cars.
Talk about race cars.
Race cars.
So, race cars. What cars do you race?
It's classified as a sprint car.
Okay.
Our division is considered mini sprints because our frames are a lot smaller than the full-size ones. You know, we're racing a superbike motor out of Kawasaki with a 636 for anybody that's...
There are definitely, we have listeners
people are
who
listening,
know what you're talking about.
Right. So it's running on alcohol, full race fuel.
I run on that too.
Yeah.
And then I fall down.
Currently running on it.
But, no, and it's compared to the full size, they have anywhere from a 305 Chevy V8 to a 410 cubic inch with 900 horsepower.
Ooh,
now those are sprint cars too.
What's that?
Those are sprint cars too, but they're not the you call them mini sprints that you guys ride?
They look about the same, just the scaled down.
Yeah.
They're just smaller. Same proportions, same wings on top.
How fast do you go?
At our local track that we're going to talk about later, we're probably at the end of the straightaway hitting about 75, 80 mile an hour.
That's pretty good. Not a lot of straightaways in sprint, or is it an oval track?
It's a dirt oval track.
It's a dirt oval.
It's 1/8 of a mile. So
okay.
You're figuring your straightaways are only a couple hundred feet long.
And exactly 2 of them.
Spoken like a true race car driver. I guess about 70, 80 miles. Because I don't really want to know.
No, you're just... it's shorter the faster you're going. That's what you want to do.
We've actually had documentation on a quarter-mile track that's over in Geneva that we were averaging 113 miles an hour.
Man, that's pretty quick.
Times.
That's pretty quick on the dirt.
Oh, yeah. And that's just average. By the end of the straightaway, we're hitting about $130 with that calculation.
A lot of drift in those dirt tracks, right? It's taking the turns is all about going sideways.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And my steering wheel is never pointed in the right direction.
No, it's always going the other way, yeah.
You're
counter steering.
Turning right to turn left.
Yeah.
The whole way.
That's cool, man. That's got to be a lot of fun to do. How long does the race last?
On average, at the track that I race at is a 30-lap feature, which is the main event. Our qualifying is 10 laps.
Okay.
And we have hot laps, that are 5 laps just to get the heat in the motor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to warm her up. Yeah. Yeah, you race at Lime Rock Speedway. Whereabouts is Lime Rock Speedway?
That's in Caledonia.
Okay.
It's a little bit away from Avon, maybe 15 minutes.
From 5 and 20, you could...
5 and 20, yeah, you'd pull right into Caledonia, go down Route 5,
and
right on Flint Hill Road.
And when can the fine people enjoy the great smell of exhaust?
It's every Saturday night. Pretty
every
much
Saturday night.
Goes through August, and, it's, we get there probably about, 3:30, but gates open at 3.
You guys get there after the gates open? I would have thought that it would be like an all-day event. But I guess without the benefit of being able to drink, you can't drink and drive this race, right?
No, there's no alcohol.
Are you out of your freaking mind?
Yes. Well, I don't
Spoken like a true friggin' drunk. Can you drive 130 miles an hour in the dirt drunk?
That's the only way I can do that.
No, Stace, they're not allowed to drive drunk, dude. That's kind of against the rules.
Well, then I can see wait until 3:30 to get there, because what's the tailgate without the...
Plus, I'm going to assume that some, if not a lot, of the competitors are not legally allowed to drink.
Oh, that's probably true. You probably got some young drivers, huh?
We have the youngest driver at the track is actually 5 years old.
Holy cow!
He races
He's racing those little mini ones. Those are cool.
Yep.
I saw those in the picture on Facebook.com/Years Motorsports. You can see the pictures of the cars they race, the little bitty ones they put the little kids in. It's cute. It's like Mario Kart without the turtle shells.
Exactly. That's actually the one he's talking about is my little brother's.
Your little brother. All right. Well, my question to you was, how did you start racing? Like, what was why did you get into the sport? What brought you around to it?
Well, the biggest thing was my dad and his uncles had started racing in the late 80s at Lime Rock, actually, with the same cars that we're racing today still there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Different
motors, right?
What's that?
Different motors.
They were smaller, and I had gone up through the ranks and raced the same cars they had with the same motors.
Oh, really?
And everything. But it started out pretty much as I think I was a few months old. My first race I was ever there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it.
Right, obviously.
It put me right to sleep by the end of the night. And it was just all downhill from there. I became 8 years old. My dad had gotten out of it because he had me.
Yeah.
And when I was 7, he said, next year you'll be old enough to race. Want to go get a go-kart? And I didn't even hesitate to say yes.
Little bitty Trevor was like, hell yeah!
So, like Hank Williams, it was a family tradition.
Oh, absolutely. It has been. My uncles have raced. My grandfather was always a big part of the track. He was infield. My grandmother was up in the tower scoring.
You see that a lot in racing. Is like it's always a family thing. It's you get the same you just get different generations of the same people over and over again because it's like in your blood.
Absolutely, and especially at Lime Rock, there's been people there that have been there since the late 70s. I mean, they're still there. And,
yeah.
And I don't mean to toot our own horn, but the last name of Years is highly known at Lime Rock. You ask somebody about us, they have raced or known or worked with one of us.
That's awesome, and do feel free to toot your horn. That's why we're here, is to give people the opportunity to toot their horns for a half hour while we do it for another hour and a half.
I was about to say, yeah, we're here to toot our horn, so we figured we'd give a chance to let you toot your horn.
If we did it more than 75% of the show ourselves, it would be
horn tooting.
Self-satisfying. We need to have guests just so that we have somebody else talking about themselves.
You don't want to seem too egotistical.
That's right. I don't care, but
he doesn't want to seem too egotistical?
No.
You?
Yeah. I don't want to seem too egotistical. I want to be too egotistical.
All right. So we're here to talk about race cars, but we're also here to talk about a very important subject, and that is racing for autism. So why autism?
Well, a few years back, I have a little brother that is 10 now, and he started having a little bit of issues, behavioral, and he started out at school, and when he was in kindergarten, which was 5 years ago now, they had him tested for autism, and it came back that he had Asperger's, which is a lower form of autism.
A higher functioning form.
Correct.
Okay.
Can you? I'd like to know about the test. Do you know anything about what did that test entail? Do you know?
The biggest thing is the doctor actually just talks.
They just sit down and talk, right? It's a talking test.
Talk with the person that's being tested.
Okay.
So it's less of a measurement as it is an observing symptoms.
Correct. I mean, there's no brain scan. There's no test that you can physically do. You can't draw blood and say, well, this kid has autism.
Right. Okay. So it was a matter of interview.
Correct. They have meetings with teachers and ask them how they are doing in school. And with autism, sometimes they can have perfect grades.
Yeah.
Other times you'll see them, they'll lack it. They'll be going downhill. They'll have their highs in a certain subject, and let's say they have a high grade in science, which my little brother does, and low grades.
Good boy.
Yeah, right. And
we need more
low
scientists
grades in English and social studies. They have their little cliques.
Right. They got what they dig and zero rate in. How is that different than ADD?
with ADD, I mean, most kids that have autism have symptoms of being ADD, and actually a lot of them are diagnosed also with ADD.
Okay.
And it's, if they want to focus on something, absolutely, there's nothing you can do to make them get off that subject.
Right.
You know, with my little brother especially, if you talk to him about race cars, he'll talk your ear off for an hour and won't get distracted. Now, you talk to him something that he is not interested in,
Right.
his mind is in a different place, and he's not doing anything.
Now, I hear
what he wants to.
I hear oftentimes with autistic people and children that they don't pick up well on social cues. They don't. A lot of the disease is not so much an intellectual malfunction as it is a social malfunction. They don't.
They're awkward.
If they're awkward,
it's hard to hold a conversation. With
you can hold a conversation with them and try to sway them off the conversation, where a normal person will go, "Oh, we don't want to talk about that." Okay. Where that autistic person is just going to keep trucking because they didn't quite pick up the, hey, let's not talk about that situation.
Right. And that definitely is. It's very much a social disorder. And luckily for us, in a sense, my little brother is very sociable, but it's around certain people, around new people, that he just clams right up. He won't talk to them.
So he's got a comfort zone.
Yeah, he definitely has a comfort zone, and obviously growing up with him, I'm in his comfort zone.
Well, one would hope.
Yeah. Also, that's something that people say a lot about autistic children, that they have a comfort zone,
Right.
and it takes a while.
Yeah.
I've even heard of autistic children taking to one parent over the other.
So what's racing against autism? Or I'm sorry, racing for autism.
Interjecting your own thoughts.
I wasn't trying to. What's racing for autism? What's the goal there? What are you guys doing?
Our main purpose for doing it is, one, I have my little brother that is autistic, so there's a personal drive there. But our biggest thing is just to raise awareness because, it's an unknown problem. You tell somebody that, well, my little brother has autism, they go, I'm sorry. And it's not I'm sorry. It's definitely, it's almost a gift.
Yeah.
It's a disorder and it makes things hard, but it's a gift. And, most people they don't know what it is. They think autism, they think, not to sound crude or anything, but they think like Down syndrome or something like that.
People, I think a lot of people don't know enough to dissemble the difference between autism and retardation. I think a lot of people hear it and they think it's a mental retardation, but it's not.
Right. Exactly.
It's not at all.
It's a neurological disorder.
Right. It's not that a person is dumb or slow. It's just that they have a more specific thought process than what most people have, I think, right? That's pretty accurate?
That's pretty much what it is. They're focused on one thing. They take things very literal.
Yeah.
And if you're angry, just picture a person with autism twice that.
Right. Somebody without all the colors that I have for being angry. Like they have just a more narrow field of colors for anger. Like,
correct.
I could be angry 20 ways. They could be angry 13.
Right. And it's double the intensity. And it shows up in puberty.
Yeah.
Like, us being all guys here, what happens when we go through our changes.
Testosterone makes you aggressive.
It gets hard to stand up in health class.
Yeah. I'm absolutely dreading yet so excited to see him go through that.
Yeah.
Because they say it's double the intensity.
That's a cool outlook to have because a lot of people I think wouldn't have that I'm excited to see it outlook. But like it's cool that you're comfortable enough with it and he must be comfortable enough having it that you're
He just sounded like one of my big brothers. I just can't wait till he's old enough for me to kick his ass.
That's exactly what it boils down to. I can't wait for him to try to come and try to push me over or try to wrestle me to the ground and I actually have an opportunity where I can wrestle him, not worry about hurting him because he's probably going to...
How are you going to feel when you get your ass kicked?
Yeah, exactly. So, but back to the racing for autism,
yeah.
what we previously asked.
That's what we were going to.
We're just trying to make people aware that it is not a crippling disorder. It's manageable, and it's there, and
it's not going anywhere. It's really there. How many kids?
It's right now. It's 1 in 88.
That's a big number.
Correct. And on top of it, in the next few years, it's going to come to about 1 in 50 kids. And it's not because more and more kids are being born with it. It is more so that we are actually
getting better at zeroing in on it.
Yeah, actually looking for it and not saying, well, this kid just has, behavioral problems.
Doesn't it at some point, if you go from 1 in 88 kids to 1 in 50 kids, and then you're down to 1 in 40 kids, isn't that at some point just part of the human condition?
What number does it stop being an ailment or an abnormality and start being the norm?
This is just how some people are, and it's not.
Well, I mean,
I'm not saying it's not a real thing. Don't get me wrong.
There's an argument to be made with the higher functioning forms of autism now that Asperger's kids don't suffer from a neurological disorder, as they are just different. That they are just different individuals, and that's the type of person that fires a little bit differently than the other type of people.
I think with a lot of autistic people, it'd probably be pretty fair to say there's nothing wrong with them.
Oh, absolutely.
They just
I don't
are
find
autistic.
My brother have anything wrong. With them.
Right?
People with things that are wrong with them are criminals who are in prison or hurting bad people.
Semantics, you know what I mean? I mean, like somebody with one arm would have something wrong with them. They've got one less arm than everybody else, but that's not how autism works. It's not as black and white as that.
Oh, absolutely not. It's like when ADD first was discovered. Everybody had ADD.
Everybody had it. Yeah, they told me I had it, and I'm like,
me too.
I'm pretty sure I just don't like school.
Yeah, I think pretty sure I don't like homework.
I was just bored in class. They try to teach me history, and I'm like, can I just go home and watch it on the History Channel because I don't need the homework. I'll just do that.
Now on History Channel, all you're going to see is gator hunting. So
I know, what is that about? Like, what? That's not history at all.
But it's just one of those things. It's not so much overdiagnosed. I think it's just we're still trying to get a grasp on what it
actually is.
Well, when we're talking about mapping the human mind, we're prehistoric in our understanding. I mean, we haven't even touched the top of the iceberg yet. So, I mean, maybe someday we'll find that this isn't a disorder, or at the higher functioning levels, it's not so much a disorder
as
it
the way
is.
some brains work.
Maybe it's a higher form of reasoning.
Could be.
And it's early development. You never know.
It's a superpower. It's not a disorder.
Well, in its early form of development, maybe it's not so much a cute thing to say as it is maybe the truth. You never know how evolution will work.
That's true. Especially not with growing numbers like that. It's
exactly. That's staggering numbers. I mean, that's kind of like you said. The human condition, evolution is the human condition.
If you're going 1 in 88 to 1 in 50, I mean, there's definitely a shift going on there. That's a paradigm shift in diagnosis of a thing.
Right. So, and of course, it's more prominent in guys.
Oh, of course it is.
Is it?
It's 1 in 54 out of that 1 in 88 are males.
Wow.
That have it.
That leaves like 34 girls.
Since the population of the planet is swayed towards the females, the numbers for the population of the planet are not good.
Oh no, we're on a downward spiral. The male generation's on a downward spiral.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, I mean, we're kind of on a downward spiral for a lot of different reasons. I mean, but the good news is,
start shows 9, 10, 12, and 14.
When the Ice Age comes, it's going to wipe out a lot of the people that can't compete. We'll just have to deal with it like we dealt with it the first time we dealt with an Ice Age. Yeah, only now we'll have electricity. Think about how easy that's going to be.
But didn't you know the Earth was only 3,000 years old?
Oh, shut up.
All right. It was 6,000. That's what it is.
But, yeah, our biggest thing is just we're trying to get people to understand it.
Yeah.
And
so how do you do that? How do you get people to understand it? How does Racing for Autism get people to understand about autism?
Our biggest thing is we try to go around and bring the cars and encourage kids to sit in them because every kid's little fantasy, whether you're a boy or girl, sees a race car, they want to say,
"Oh, absolutely."
I actually was just at the Canandaigua Auto Show, and I had kids. Can I start it? Can I drive it?
No.
Yeah, you have to stand to see over the hood, so probably not.
Yeah,
but,
not so much.
We actually have a event coming up. That's actually this weekend. It's the 29th.
I was going to get into that. What kind of special events do you have coming up for your autism?
Right. It's the 29th. It's at Lime Rock Speedway, which, like I said, it's on Flint Hill Road in Caledonia.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there will be links all around on Years Motorsports if you go and see it.
And AirWreck Radio.
That's fact.
But we're actually having a walk for autism. Yeah,
It's a walk for autism.
So you have your relays for lives. You have your walks for all the cancer.
I had a friend that committed in the a friend that participated it's better
in
the Relay for Life recently.
So we're trying to do something like that at Lime Rock.
Walking the track.
What's that?
You walking the track?
Absolutely, we're walking the track.
Nice.
That's cool.
You know how many people get to go out on a racetrack and just walk around? They get to feel the surface.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. You're walking the track.
Our cars will be on the infield.
What time is that going on?
It's going to be at intermission, so...
Oh, really? It's going to be like during race time?
It's going to be on race day.
Wow, on like the live track.
On the live track.
That's
Obviously,
cool.
no cars running around.
Obviously.
I would hope not.
That would not be a walk. That'd be a run for your dear life.
And you would lose.
And you would lose.
You'd lose bad.
I would not. I know how to climb a wall. See ya.
I bet there's a chain link fence my fat ass could scurry up.
So sure could, yeah.
What time is intermission? Is that during the race or between practice and the race?
It's between the heat races and the features, so it'll be after 6. It'll probably be around 7
Okay,
o'clock.
so it's after the races start.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You're gonna, when the races start at 6, we run through our heat races. We have about a half-hour intermission. This one may be a little bit longer.
Well, you got a little bit of walking going on.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna.
It's a special night. Our cars are gonna be on the infield, and we're gonna have our stuff there. Feel free to, talk about it.
That's pretty
try
cool.
To give people information. I mean, that's the biggest thing is,
just letting people know.
People
raising awareness
with it.
I can see how if medication is not really the thing here, then awareness is the thing, because you need to make people aware that this is just something that happens to people and it's not a big deal, and it's the only reason it's a big deal is because people don't know about it. And as soon as people know about it, it seems like it becomes not a big deal anymore.
Because you know how to deal with it.
Right.
That show at Canandaigua was just a precursor to what we were going to see there. As we had so many people ask so many questions, and it's
good.
It tickles my heart a little bit.
Good.
For people actually to have an interest. Most people see race car and then they're like race car. No, they ask, well, why are you racing for autism? Much like you guys asked. What is it? Why?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a good title, but like I've done charity events where I was like, how is this benefiting the charity? Like I understand that everybody's here and we all got our ribbons on and this and that, but what is this really doing? But if awareness is the thing. If awareness is what it takes
awareness
to make
of
it
cancer
better,
is not going to help.
Awareness of
money
cancer is not
helps
going to fix
cancer.
That's arguable.
I mean, there is a actual there's a fund, for research for it, for development.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did have at one point that a certain chromosome, I think it was the 16th chromosome, was mutated.
All right, I want to point out to everybody listening that I'm holding to those facts like they are the gospel. So if they're wrong, I'm coming after you.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, we're definitely known on AirWreck Radio for having our facts straight. So we hope that you have your facts straight. Otherwise, you're going to fit right in.
Unless the band's a negative influence on us.
Right. So there is a research fund, and we donate any money that we make from this.
Yeah,
all to the research of it.
So all proceeds go towards the research for autism.
Right, and not only just the research, but the funding for the actual special aids in school. Something like that. There's a place they have.
That's a good point you bring up. They require special. It sometimes requires a special aid in the classroom to help an autistic child.
Because people learn differently. People
learn differently, but you can't teach down the class.
Exactly.
You got to have
absolutely.
So that's expensive.
Yeah, my little brother, he's not part of special ed. He's too smart to be in special ed.
So he's in
not saying that special ed kids are dumb, but he's just that high functioning.
Again, he's very high functioning. He's very intelligent. He's very bright.
I'd like to point out
socially awkward.
Right. So he has a special aid that helps him out. And that costs money.
It does. It costs an ass load of money.
Special tools they use.
And even that, having a special aid isn't so much about a different kind of education. It is a different kind of sociability. Maybe this special aid has a better understands better how to connect with a
Right.
person.
A teacher is there to teach to the general class. If you got somebody with a special need, you need a special teacher to know how to.
They go through and they talk about it, and then the special aid comes in and answers any other questions. You don't want to hold
There's extra attention. Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing, but it certainly is expensive. So
yeah, there's actually the place that helps out with a lot of that is called Autism Speaks.
Autism Speaks.
And there's actually it's autismspeaks.org.
There you go.
I was waiting for the dot part.
Yep. And we have them on our car, so people can ask about it.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea.
That's
I mean, obviously your cars are there for advertising, so that's a very good use of advertising space.
Race cars are advertising space?
Yeah, they're like billboards that go too fast to read.
It's
not a great advertising campaign until the cars stop.
I would actually just like to point out that we are about the only team that doesn't have sponsors.
You have no sponsors?
We have no sponsors.
You have a charity that you donate all your proceeds to. That's
correct.
That's the opposite of
any sponsors in quotation marks out there that would like to donate. We're working at that. The sponsor will go on our car, but the money will be donated to charity.
Okay, you can sponsor
how much would it cost for us to get an AirWreckRadio badge on your car?
I don't know how big you want it.
As big as we can get it for free.
Listen, you make a little sticker like this big, I'd be more than happy.
I'm working on stickers.
But all the proceeds from any sponsor that's willing to donate, anybody private that's willing to donate,
and they can get a hold of you to give you this kind of donation information at on the Facebook, right?
On the Facebook at Years Motorsports. I have my address, my personal address on there. I have my personal cell phone number for anybody that would like to contact me.
For anybody who'd like to prank call him in the middle of the night.
Anybody wants to call Trevor at 4 a.m. this morning and just go AirWreckRadio and then hang up, that's what he gets for putting his
photo around the internet.
Right ahead. I'm a good sport.
Not so much for putting it out there, but for telling us he put it out there. Go ahead and give Trevor a call at 4 o'clock Thursday morning. And just, AirWreckRadio, wake up.
Anybody give me a morning call. I'll be sure to answer.
What do you want?
Bring.
Your phone's going to get blown up by like 4 people. Maybe. 2 of them will be us.
Radio.
Phone call right now, actually. One person. Are you on the air? Yeah.
Yes.
Don't answer your phone while you're on air. Oh, that's one of our rules we need to say is don't answer your phone while you're on the air.
Yeah, that's a good point to add to the rules.
Yeah, just chuck it across the window.
So let's touch on the hot button subject, shall we? Since your personal relation, your close personal kin relation, suffers from a disorder that may be linked to immunizations, what is your view on autism caused by immunization?
I believe that, actually, it's hard to say what I believe in. It's one of those deals that, for the flu shot, they say, are you allergic to eggs? That's absolutely probably 100% proven. When it comes to getting immunizations and it genetically mutating something to cause you to have these disorders, I find it hard to believe.
I don't know.
I really do.
I don't have this information. What?
You're not aware of this argument?
I don't think I'm the only person who's not aware of this. So let's be.
Let's fill people in then. How do
you end up with autism from immunization?
It is commonly believed. I take back. No, it's the whole. Hold on a second. I take back the word commonly. It is believed by a small segment of people that the combination of vaccines that we receive, because they have, tripled in the last 50 years, is causing a genetic mutation that results in autism.
By the fact that we have so many, because we elected to not have some when we had our son. We don't need that. But there was like a assload of immunizations that they threw at us, and they're like, you gotta get all these, and we're like, what? No,
I will admit that the medical society is a little pushy, and that tends to turn new parents off. But what I have a hard time believing in is herd immunization, being immune to something because the rest of the herd is immune to it. Now, I don't get vaccinated for polio, but you two did. Now, I'm relying on the fact that I'm not going to get polio because the people that I'm around can't get polio. But that doesn't mean you can't carry it.
In 50 years, I'm going to kill you with polio.
That doesn't mean you can't carry it. That just means you can't get sick by it. But you could still expose me to polio if somewhere along the line. You go to Africa, you pick it up on your shirt, you bring it to me. I could get polio that way.
Yeah, what? You know.
It could happen.
Why are you sniffing my shirt?
Well, you know.
Why am I in Africa?
But, I mean, you're relying on statistics to keep you safe instead of relying on something that can keep you safe. I'm a big believer in immunization, but my kids are great. You know what I mean? My kids are 100% healthy.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in immunization. But, people have a counter argument that that's maybe not necessarily the case. I believe Jenny McCarthy was the head of this movement. From MTV,
Oh.
Jenny McCarthy, big boob blonde.
Why are they fish if they're chicken? Was that her? Was
Yeah.
she the one with the chicken in the sea?
No, that's Jessica Simpson.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Thanks for the pop culture reference that totally derailed the conversation.
I don't think that I derailed this conversation.
I know immunizations are a big part of this autism conversation. I wanted to get his take on the immunizations.
And I wanted to know about that.
I think my biggest way of looking at it is if the immunization causes a mutation in the brain to develop autism, obviously there was a weakness in that chromosome.
You were already prone to something.
That you were already prone to having it. So, these kids don't just
So let's immunize
come
that.
out and have it. There's a lot of kids that do, but you start to just develop it.
Sometimes it's situational.
Yeah, I absolutely think that. And
So it's like smallpox or autism. I guess I'd take autism because smallpox will kill you. Autism, you get to live anyway.
right. And they're starting to look at it with the kids that were diagnosed with autism. They looked at their younger, 18 months kind of deal, like recognizing when somebody said their name, eye contact
Yeah.
kind of deal. And they show that the kids with autism had a different, I don't know, what would you call it?
A reaction
Babyhood?
time. They had different reaction times for
Right.
baby stimuli.
Right, exactly. So, and, my way of thinking, you don't have immunizations. I mean, you do, but you don't have that many that young,
Right. If you're already predisposed.
Right. So, and my way of thinking is, you don't just get it. You have it as soon as you're born.
Okay.
It's when it starts to show up. And a lot of kids, it starts to show
Lays
up when they're
dormant
in
and then
school.
becomes active.
Right. When they're in school and they're stimulated.
Yeah, that's the thing. Until
it's a
you're
lot
in
of
school,
information.
you got your parents and your babysitter to go on, and they're not qualified to determine autism. Most parents,
especially in a social situation when you're socially awkward, you're not going to be awkward in that close-in situation. You're not going to discover
Right,
that
you're so familiar
until
to
you,
everybody.
until you interact with the public.
It's when they
Which is what school's for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing of autism is they get overstimulated, and that's when it starts to come out.
Oh, so autism's like being old.
Almost.
I just noticed that the older I get, the more easily overstimulated you get.
That's
too much
true.
noise,
Yeah.
too much going on. You got to get yourself out.
When it comes to simulation like that, it's funny because my little brother can listen to loud race cars all day. All day.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Go figure, right?
But in like a crowd.
But if you have a small 5-year-old girl screaming, he can't handle it.
Can't handle that kind of
Yeah.
high pitch.
He starts to freak out. You see him get a little squirmy, covering his ears. There's some parts where if it's too much, he'll start to cry.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't understand it because he's so over.
That's the communication barrier. Yeah, that's the communication barrier. And then you can't get it out, and then that frustrates you even further, and then you
Right.
just can't do anything but cry.
Right.
Who wouldn't want to cry? I'd cry.
And one personal thing that we've done to help him calm down in those situations is, get this, you weigh them down.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
Don't sit on them. Don't
You
sit
just
on your kids.
Tight.
Just
Squeeze them.
with some pressure, weigh them down.
Give them some pressure against them. It calms them right down.
Yeah.
A little womb
With some
type
closeness,
action.
Yeah.
A lot of times, my little brother wears ankle weights. The I'm a 30-year-old trying to lose weight, so I'm going to put ankle weights
So I'm
on.
gonna power walk with my stroller.
The way he stays grounded is by literally
Being grounded.
enforcing his grounding.
Yeah, it's to unstimulate one thing is to stimulate another.
All right.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of corn sacks. Anybody out there heard of corn sacks? It's like a heating thing that
educate us.
Yeah.
Oh, the little heating pad, like
it's like a heating pad. That
you're talking about a little like a
water
bag of corn that you put in the microwave,
right?
Yeah.
We actually will warm one of those up, give it to him. He'll put it right on his stomach, lay down, and he will calm right down.
It soothes him. The warmth. He can focus on the warmth, and then he can think about
focus on the warmth and the pressure on his stomach, and everything like that. So.
And then he can get, because they're very focused. They get into the tunnel vision. So give him something to focus on that's not the overstimulation.
Right. For a while, he was really afraid of dogs because we had next door neighbors that tried to come in the shop and attack my dad.
Well, and they're loud and spastic.
Right. And my little brother focused on that for years. And he was only, maybe 6 years old, 7 years old. And he still talks about it to this day about defending. And because it was just a huge stimulation.
And it was something that wrote a loop. It's something that wrote a card in his head that just for some reason clicks on from time to time, and he can't stop the thought.
Right, exactly.
And we all have those cards in our heads that we write, those little memories that we write in our heads that just click on from time to time and affect you. But most of us can go, okay,
turn it off.
It's a memory.
He can't turn them off.
He can't turn them off. He's got to live it out every time it happens.
Right, exactly.
He's got to experience the whole thing from beginning to end. And it's going to be very frightening when you can't stop yourself from experiencing an emotion.
Yeah.
You can't even imagine that because I can go, okay, I'm sad. Oh, you're going to suck it up, Nancy. Your skirt's...
I actually can't imagine that. Since the car accident...
yeah, that's right.
Anytime somebody pulls up to the right-hand side of the road out of a driveway on a cross street, I lock right up, man. I have a hard time getting through intersections sometimes. And it's because I relive a moment. There's no getting around it for me. It's just there. But I mean, it's not the same thing. But it's.
But you can tell when it bothers him because he has golf clubs, and when it bothers him, you can tell because he carries around a golf club, and you can tell because he'll be like just sitting there with a golf club, just sitting there, doing nothing. What are you doing?
Playing with my golf club.
Just playing with my golf club. Well, why are you hitting the ground with it? Well, just in case those dogs come over. So
he's definitely got his routines, his own safety net.
Yeah, I mean, a weapon will definitely give you an air of safety. There's no question.
Nothing like a metal stick to make you feel a little more secure.
At least there's some distance between me and the thing I'm hitting. That's the difference.
All right, well, thanks, Trevor, for coming out and talking with us about autism. I think that I certainly learned a lot about autism.
Certainly.
I didn't know a whole bunch about it, man, and I really am walking away from this with an understanding that really it is information that autism needs. It needs the public to understand what it is. It sounds like instead of medication or with medication or not, awareness.
Research and awareness and know-how.
Let people
is how
know.
we get to the bottom of this.
1 in 88's no joke, man. That's a lot of kids. So you can find out more about this at the Racing for Autism events that go on at Lime Rock Motor Speedway in Caledonia off of Route 5. And what was the street?
It's Flint Hill Road.
Flint Hill Road. That's a major road in Caledonia.
What was the date that you're walking for autism?
That was Saturday, June 29th.
Yeah, this Saturday,
June 29th. Gates open at 3. The race teams all show up about 3:30.
What's the cost for the walk?
It's free to do.
Donate whatever you like.
So donations accepted?
Yeah, you can donate, but if you just want to come out, walk the track, have a good time, it's $3 to get into the grandstand.
That was my next question, was how much is the race?
$13 to get in the pits. And
that's a cheap night for a family of four. $3?
Yeah, well, that is
we do it Saturday.
Person.
I might be going down to the Lime Rock Motor Speedway.
We should be going out taking my girls.
I might take my whole family.
If you,
I'll talk about it with her right now. Hey, babe. You want to go to the Lime Rock Motor Speedway?
This makes riveting radio. Anyways, check them.
It will in my house on Wednesday night.
And if you need any more information about autism or Racing for Autism, you can check them out at facebook.com/yearsmotorsports. There you'll be able to find links and all sorts of information about where you can support the Racing for Autism cause, support the Walk for Autism this coming up Saturday, and you can support the entire sports team.
You can support the racing every Saturday at 3 o'clock out at Lime Rock.
It's good family fun.
It sounds like good family fun. It must be because it's all families doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for some good family fun from some good family people, check out the Lime Rock Speedway, check out Years Motorsports, and their Racing for Autism charity. Thank you for joining us on Airwick Radio.
Thank you for having me on.
Do you really think it matters to me when I'm stuck here all alone? I'm being trapped by those lies that you made. You seeing that there is no way out.
Welcome back to AirWreck Radio. Thanks for joining us again. We really appreciate you guys all stepping up there and listening to our show. Check us out on Facebook.com/AirWreckRadio. Give us your likes. We need them to live. AirWreckRadio@gmail.com. Send us your emails. I'll send you flowers because I love you and I want you to have flowers.
And a very special thanks to Trevor Years of Years Motorsports. So while you're at the Facebook kissing our asses, please go ahead over there and kiss their asses too at Years Motorsports on Facebook.
More importantly than just going to Facebook for Years Motorsports, make your way out to Lime Rock Speedway this week for the Walk for Autism during the race.
Saturday night.
During the intermission for during the race.
I wouldn't want to walk during the race. That'd be
during
dangerous.
the race, you'd get run over.
That'd be a danger.
That's off of Route 5 in Caledonia. Google it, Lime Rock Speedway. It's like $3 to show up and give them some kind of donation. That's another $3 if that's all you got. $6, you got yourself a night. Bring the family.
Yeah. Bring the family.
It's a family fun event. Bring them out there. Enjoy the show. So this just in, it turns out there's going to be 2 game designers coming to Rochester. They're going to be answering questions and discussing the video game industry at RIT this Friday from 6:30 to 7:30. So perhaps AirWreck Radio might make their way down to that little event and see if we could wrangle up an interview.
Did you know my tail would wag when you said that?
I did. That's why I didn't say it while we were on break. I saved it for
my
now.
tail's a wagon, boy.
This news update comes to us from Tammy Coughlin, my lovely wife.
And listener numero uno.
Yeah, it's a fact, man. She's our number 1 listener. Take no offense, other listeners. She's my wife.
Listeners 2, 3 through 200.
So now back to where we were. This has been our tech show, and to close up things, we wanted to touch on a couple of little things, like smart cars. Smart cars are a fancy new thing coming along, and I don't mean those little bitty jobs that you will die in if you get hit by a bird. I'm not. Those are not the cars I'm talking about.
Hit by a bird. I love it.
I'm talking about the cars like there's a Google car that's coming out that has a smart kind of system that'll allow it to drive itself. A little more notable in the car making industry than Google is the Cadillac Super Cruise.
Cadillac.
You're going to see this around 2016. They have a car that will not just cruise control, it will smart cruise. And smart cruise means that it will maintain a comfortable distance, however the driver deems comfortable, from the vehicles in front of it. If there's a tractor trailer, it'll slide you over a little bit. It actually has
its mirror view.
It actually has the ability to steer itself. It uses a camera to see highway markers. It uses GPS, and it uses several radar detectors
for proximity
around the vehicle to tell where the other cars are in the other lanes. And vehicle radar has come a long way fast.
Yeah, buddy.
They have Ford Fiestas have backup alarms. I'm like,
I always like the Ford Fiesta.
$16,000 cars. Yeah, but I'm talking to the new ones, not the old,
Oh no, I mean
the ones you love because they're old school.
They're horrible pieces of crap, but it was just fun to say. Ford Fiesta.
The new ones are pretty nice if you can get over being in something that small.
There ain't not a bad new Ford, and as a Chevy guy, that hurts me to say.
I know, it's a fact. I used to be a Chevy guy, and then I started working at Ford, and
I'm still a Chevy guy.
Fords are they're pretty nice cars.
Ford makes an awful nice line of cars all of a sudden. Wish they'd just go back to making pickup trucks and shut up. But what? Hey, what?
They still make a lot of trucks.
At least it's an American-made automobile that didn't need my money to survive.
That's right. Even if it was put together in Mexico, it's still America.
That didn't need my money to survive.
Right.
Well, that's the bottom line. Technology's great until it costs me money.
It's better that Mexico make money assembling Fiestas than Mexico make money dealing in drug lords.
So, God damn you!
Our guest in studio tonight is still with us. Trevor Years is here still. And he totally just derailed us by asking us if Mexico...
Turn your mic on and ask
Ford
the question, because it's too late now. Turn the mic on and ask the question. It's too late now.
All right, so if you're in Mexico and they're producing all these Fiestas in Mexico, what do they call it? Do they call it the Ford Party, or do they call it the Ford Fiesta?
I think they call it the Fiesta, just like when they had the Nova Well, this is actually counterpoint to that. When they had the Nova, that was obviously Chevrolet, but they couldn't sell it in Spanish-speaking countries because it was called the Doesn't Go.
Yeah.
So they called it like the Solaris or something like that. They called it something else.
Same thing happened with the Lamborghini El Diablo.
Yeah.
You cannot sell the devil in Catholic Spanish-speaking countries.
Nope.
It's not going to happen.
Didn't happen.
Well, of course you would. You're a Satan worshiper.
But it's still pretty cool that Cadillac has this car coming out in 2016. Not that far away.
It's the future, baby. No, that's not that far away. That's now. 2016, that's now.
Like, remember in 2009 when you're like, oh, man, the world is going to end in 2012. That's the same far away. Now, hopefully Cadillac delivers a little bit better than the Mayans did because they dropped the ball.
Oh, dropped it way down. They didn't drop the ball. They just got tired of keeping that stupid calendar.
They actually just made up a ball. Pretended to carry it, and then didn't.
And then just stopped.
Right. You know what? This ball is pretend anyways. We don't have to pretend to carry it anymore. And now we're all free from the impending Mayan apocalypse and technology. She's a booming.
She's a booming. I've noticed an ever-growing admiration for technology that I've never seen before. I've always noticed that in my life there was a resistance to technology, that people feared the new, that they fought what they did not understand, and technology fell right into that. But lately I've observed what I feel is a growing embrace of technological advent. People are starting to believe in better living through technology.
That's a fact. People
to steal the old
stuff these days.
To steal the old Stark family motto. But public opinion drives movements. It drove the '60s hippie movement. It drove the radical non-war movement. It drove the civil movement. It drove technology.
It drove the revolution.
Absolutely. And it's driven technology, and it will continue to drive technology, and I believe that more so to this day. Technology grows exponentially.
Fact.
True. So technology begets technology, and as public or layman interest in technology, technological advent grows, it will usher in a new technology, a new boom, a new era, I believe, of technology. Between the 50s and today, there's been a growth of technology that it's just been unforeseen, but it seemed to slow. It seems that we're slowing down off of an advent of technology, only to gear right back up again with some of the stuff that's right on the cusp with the 3D printing, the robotics, neurological engineering, technology is reaching higher than it's ever reached before.
That's a fact.
It's reaching for those sci-fi novels. It's reaching for those sci-fi movies that we all watch for. That Impossible, The Warp Drive.
You say slow, fast, slow. We go slow, fast, slow. And that's true. Except for the thing about being in a boom is the slow times get ever shorter. And the fast times get ever faster.
And maybe I'm wrong because you're not supposed to recognize when you're in the upscale. But I do seem to recognize it.
You can't help it these days. We're so good at analyzing data. I mean, we really have gotten good as a people at analyzing data. We have so many data collecting devices out there that you can tell when an uptrend's coming.
I mean, we've genetically engineered a vein as a replacement in a human being.
Yeah. You're welcome, John Bobbitt.
I don't know that blood vessel is a vein, as a vein is a blood vessel. Welcome to the SATs. But I don't think that is exactly the same thing we're talking about.
I don't think that question was on my SAT.
But it's along the line. You took the SATs because I did not.
I did. Did good.
I wish I had.
Did good. Went to school for fine art. Now I wash cars.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And do a public radio. I've decided that this is public radio.
Is this public radio? We're not on WXXI.
I've decided this is public radio.
Okay. I'm good with that. It's on the public internet.
Exactly. And we are doing what, sir?
A radio cast called AirWreckRadio.
Thank you. Where can you find that?
At Facebook.com/AirWreckRadio. You'll find the link to every one of our shows there. check out every one of our shows, or else. I don't really have anything to back that up with. So really, just check out every one of our shows, please. Thanks so much, Trevor Years, for coming in, talking about Years Motorsports, talking about racing for autism. Come out to the Speedway in Caledonia this weekend. That's Lime Rock Speedway. Come on out, check out the race, walk, donate towards the cause. It's autism affects 1 in 88 children these days, projected to reach 1 in 50.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you guys for having me on AirWreck Radio. It was a really cool experience. You know, I'd hope to see that you guys will be at the track Saturday. I hear you guys got plans to do it, and I hope a lot of fans out there come out and help support us and do the walk with us. It'll be a good time.
All right, thanks, everybody. That was AirWreck Radio. Join us again next week when we talk about something else and have a band. Hopefully, the Clockman will be joining us next week. Thanks for joining us on AirWreck Radio.